So I will talk now about lecture heavy courses, specifically what I learned in law school, but I think this really applies to any classes that you're in that involve just talking. Sometimes not even, actually almost most of my classes don't even have PowerPoints. So oftentimes it is truly just a very long, very complex discussion about like words that I have a very hard time keeping up with, and a lot of tough concepts. And so for those kinds of lecture heavy courses, a few things I've found that worked well for me. One is moving to a different location for each class. So I find that if I have to spend 8 hours a day sitting on Zoom listening to lectures, I slowly start to melt into whatever seat I'm in. So I try to stand for a lot of those classes. I try to like physically move locations. Some studies have shown that if you study in different places, you have your brain kind of starts to compartmentalize or associate your learning with those environments. And so it might be helpful to switch it up a bit. Another suggestion, which I have found has been a really big helper for me, has been to join Zoom on my phone, or if you have a tablet, that also works. If you don't need your computer. I find that I have many fewer distractions and apps when I'm on my phone and it's on do not disturb mode. And so that just helps me focus much more rather than like look at all of these other papers I'm writing and like emails and all that stuff. So yeah, and then third is to stretch as often as possible and sit up straight. So you can't really see this now, but I actually, a couple of weeks ago, I took the armrests off of the chair that I'm sitting in because I found that I would just kind of like melt into it during class. So that helps me sit up straight and be alert. And that is the fourth point here, which is make sure you have all of the resources you need to be as alert as possible in class. So if you drink coffee, that might be something you want to have ready. Make sure you're fed and make sure you sleep well. And then this next one is something that I really struggle with, but is really important. Do the reading. Yes, do the reading. If you have a lecture, I know it can seem tempting not to because especially in the case of law school, I oftentimes will know if the teacher is going to call on me or not. And so on those days when I'm not called on, it can be tempting not to do the reading. But I find that when I do come to class as prepared as I can engage with what's said, I can relate to the concepts, the difficult concepts more easily. And to kind of help me with this really dense reading, what I do that I've also found to be very helpful is to make a summary in 6 words or less, so just the keywords in the margins for every single paragraph of the text I'm reading. So for example, if we're going to use that honeybee example, like maybe if I were reading a paragraph about that, I would maybe write bees, swarm, spring, waggle dance, or something like that. So that helps me just jog my memory, actively engage with the material. And then this goes back to what Chris was also saying, plan on going to office hours every week, ideally with a question or two you might have for the professor, but that just helps you stay accountable and stay on top of the material and what's being discussed in class.